This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2362. Do I know who I am? Can anyone really answer that question? By Helene Massicotte of F.I.R.E. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Welcome back to Optimal Finance Daily, where every day I read and offer commentary on some of the best personal finance blogs on the web in about 10 minutes or less. So with that, let's get right to it as we optimize your life. Do I know who I am? Can anyone really answer that question? By Helene Massicotte of F.I.R.E. It's now been 3 years since I walked away from my job in corporate Canada. I find it surprising that it feels like it's been so long and yet still feels so new. I initially called the move away from demanding salaried work a financial independence leap, which it was, but I think that definition missed the point. Living with the means to do what we want, thanks to having a lifestyle that's in line with our means, is more than just about being able to pay our bills and pay for the activities we want to engage in. For me, it's about being able to reclaim, rediscover even, who I am, only I didn't know it at the time. Do you know who I am? The more I experience what feels like a perpetual yet constantly changing sabbatical, I realize that the most prone to ask others, do you know who I am? Are the ones the answer eludes most. The only way to answer this question is what drives the person professionally. Title, status, money, power, prestige, influence. Any narrow definition that serves as an appropriate answer is rendered meaningless, even ridiculous, when the social context is stripped away. It's been a great exercise for me to shed the corporate title and the illusion that accompanies it. Even with a fancy title and a cool sounding job, a widget is still a widget. I filled a role. I was replaceable. My time in it transient no matter the circumstance. Given these characteristics, why do so many of us assign such importance to our position? I think the answer might be that it gives us a convenient response that pardons our refusal to look any deeper for meaning behind our thoughts, actions, even purpose. The greater the title, the less we need to look at our lives, at ourselves, and consider how little time we really have in this world, a type of tunnel vision akin to denial of our mortality. When the deafening quiet creeps in, the moment I left my job, I was elated. I knew I wanted to leave and I was pleased that I had the guts to pull the plug. Yes, I was high on liquid courage and that did help tremendously. The feeling I had was akin to how we feel when we start a new relationship. There was the thrill of the unknown, the passion, the excitement. I was excited by what each day would bring. Like a glutton, I devoured books the way I had always dreamed I would. I soaked in the sights and the sounds of the world around me when I walked and biked. I slept like a rock and woke up early with no need for an alarm. And I started to feel more creative than ever before, which led to the birth of this blog as one of my outlets. Much of this is still true, but I have to confess that I had a trying time about a year or so after I left. Once the fanfare of my newfound freedom quieted, it left room for a little voice to creep in. You know the one. Doubt. Had I done the right thing? Had I killed my career? Why was I leaving so much money on the table? Was what I was doing now worthwhile? Was I investing my time wisely? Was I growing as a person? Was I living a meaningful life? What helped me answer these questions was being presented with 2 opportunities to return to corporate life full time. I felt very fortunate to be presented with these offers for 2 reasons. Number 1, it quieted the questions regarding my ability to return at some point in the future if the desire compelled me to go back. Of course I could go back if I wanted. Number 2, it confirmed that I'd made the right choice because what I'd be giving up became clear and I felt the cost would be too high. The freedom to achieve balance, a rediscovered ability to think on a deeper level, the joy of being productive on my terms, despite some hiccups, while not having to report to anyone. Mr. F2P said he was surprised when I turned down not one but both opportunities. He thought I'd take the second one. I asked him if he felt that I should have, and he said no, admitting that he didn't know if I'd be able to see it that way. Sometimes I don't. I think in a way he was pleased, even though he himself has chosen to participate in the workforce full-time, boss and all, at least for now. The experience did lead me to further consider what I missed about corporate life, other than a title, and I found my answers. Working with a team of smart people, collaborating, problem-solving, creating, using skills I use less often now, like speaking, planning, coaching, and mentoring. What I appreciate about having the flexibility to adjust course is that there's nothing that prevents me from following opportunities in these areas, and that's exactly what I've started doing. In the last year, I've been doing more coaching, writing, and speaking. I've also collaborated with others, mostly on a one-on-one basis, but that could change soon to include small teams. I find these opportunities invigorating and actively seek out more of them. I'm fascinated with how I'm evolving and morphing into doing more of what I want, and that what I want itself changes over time. I'm intrigued and excited to both drive and witness this evolution. I'm discovering that living F.I.R.E is so much more than living without a set agenda and external obligations. It's about letting your passion and desires drive your choices and your personal growth. It's turning the focus inward where it belongs. Do I know who I am? I'm still working on the answer to the all-important question because I'm having to continually rediscover what I'm about, what I care about. I feel a growing certainty that I'll never get there, and I'm good with that. You just listened to the post titled, Do I Know Who I Am? Can Anyone Really Answer That Question? By Helene Massicotte of FreeToPursue.com. It might not always be talked about, but one of the biggest concerns for business owners is keeping their companies safe. Improve your company's cybersecurity with our sponsor, NordLocker. Now with NordLocker Business, you can secure and control your business data in an end-to-end encrypted cloud. See and manage the organization's data via your admin panel. Your business data stays protected from data leaks, ransomware, and theft. Thanks to NordLocker Business, you're able to manage members in the organization, inviting, suspending, or deleting users. You can also set up roles, user, owner, or admin, to make sure that data is only accessible by the right people. And not to mention, you can check and manage your license limit and the number of currently active users, access business settings, and control file sharing outside your organization and recover your account. It's time to make sure your company is protected. See NordLocker Business in action now with a 3-month free trial by visiting nordlocker.com/creators with code OFD. That's a 3-month free trial when you visit nordlocker.com/creators and use code OFD. Even though I'm not financially independent, I have what we like to call FU money, or peace out money for the polite among us. This means that I have 2 years of expenses easily accessible and liquid. Frankly, I've been a bit uncomfortable with having all of my income come from one source for quite some time. It's common knowledge that we should diversify our investments, so why wouldn't we also diversify our sources of income? I think having other work that I'm passionate about, like the Economy Conference, which is an event I produce about financial independence, and hosting this podcast helps a lot with my sense of identity. I can understand Helene's struggle described in this article. Without my fancy title and impressive sounding job, who am I? I would encourage you listeners to invest in creative projects and interests outside of work so that you're attaching your sense of identity to something you have more control over. While my passion projects aren't big sources of income now, I believe they will be a springboard for income that I can't even anticipate at this moment. So while I'm not financially independent, I'm financially secure, and fully feeling the benefits of that is allowing me to step boldly into an unknown future. And that's another edition of Optimal Finance Daily in the books. Don't go anywhere though, because our weekly bonus episode is live now as well. So be sure to check out episode 2363, where your optimal life awaits.